Welcome, champion entrepreneurs. We are live from the GoCEO studios, where we talk to CEOs, founders, visionaries about their businesses, and more importantly, the characteristics and personal strategies of the man or the woman behind the business, so we can better understand what led to such immense success. I'm Cory Bergeron, your host. I'm a former national TV spokesperson for over 350 different brands. I am a speaker, author, business consultant, and CEO. And today's topic, how to retain top talent in a red hot job market. Something very relevant that I know is on every single entrepreneur's mind, everybody watching or listening. And hands down, Carrie Charles with BREASTAFF is going to break it all down for us. She is the authority on this. She's going to give us intimate insights into realities of our current job market and then strategies to succeed in the midst of it. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe and the little bell just below this video screen so we can let you know when new videos are released. Now, before we get started with Carrie's interview, I want to welcome Mr. Mike CALHOUN. He is the CEO and founder of our sponsor board of advisors. Mike gives us his top 3 each week. It's 3 specific strategies or insights you should know to enhance your business or life. Mike, welcome. What do you have for us today?
Oh my gosh, I have 4 fingers actually for you today. So what I want everybody to do, as you well know, we only have 4 fingers. The thumb is not a finger. So take out your 4 fingers. Can everybody show me your 4 fingers? All right. Now, I also want you to take note, take out a pen on each one of these fingers. I want you to think about 4 different individuals in your life, and I want you to write them down. And I want you to do this as fast and as accurately as you can. The first individual is the very first person you would call if you instantly lost everything. That would be this person here. You lost it all, everything in the form of monetary assets, you know, the things that we work so hard for. Then I want you to write down the name of the person you would instantly call if you gained everything you ever wanted. You hit the lotto, your crypto went through the moon. It was pie in the sky and it became reality. Who's that person you would call? Then I want you to write down the person you would call if you lost all of your family. No more family, right? No more family, right? And then who is the person they would call if they lost you? Okay. There should be 4 names there. Does anybody not have 4 names? Does everybody have 4 names?
I think we're good.
Now, if you're looking at the same person for all 4 of those, I feel bad for them. No, kidding. I really want you to think, am I, and this is a challenge, am I nurturing these relationships in a way where that call is not catching them off guard? I was recently listening to an audio book, and if we're not I think these are the relationships that we just assume are going to be there. We kind of neglect, we don't reach out, we don't communicate as often. And these 4 relationships, many times there's a handful of them, half a dozen, a handful that we always expect to be there, or we assume will be there, but we never nurture those relationships the way we truly should. And we never appreciate those relationships the way we truly should. And I want to challenge you and inspire you today. Those 4 names, make an attempt, make an effort, be intentional about reaching out and showing them that you appreciate them, showing them that they are on your mind, right? Whether you know it or not, life is busy, it's short, and they're probably thinking about you as well. Just we get in this weird habit of doing what's right in front of our face, and they're going to appreciate it. They're going to truly enjoy it. And it's part of what I see happen when we come together at BA, right? I've known John Cristodoro since 1993. And every time I see him at BA, I'm like, this guy's like my best friend, but I never call him or check on him in the sense of, if it's business, we're going back and forth, but I'm not really checking on John, right? So the reason I love the BA engagements so much is it kind of makes us do that quarterly, but it should happen way more often. So slice out a little time during your week to appreciate those that you truly appreciate so much, they just don't feel it or hear it. And I think what'll happen is that little sweet spot or those cherished relationships, you'll see that list grow, right? I'm almost thinking about putting Cory on my list, but you'll see those individuals really bring a little more life to your weekly activity. Just one of the things as I look back across the member base at BA, and a lot of the members, Bob Gilpatrick, every time I see him jump on, I just think the guy's been with BA before BA, but then with BA every meeting for 6 years straight. And there's just such a friendship, a clientship, and a relationship that is priceless. And sometimes we get so busy, we forget to acknowledge it. So I just want you to think about that as we go into this 6-year anniversary with Board of Advisors together. Regardless of how big we get, we still got to feel small, nice and tight and intimate. And that's just kind of what was on my heart.
I appreciate that very much, Mike. And there's a lot of wisdom in that because, of course, as entrepreneurs, it's real easy for us to put ourselves on an island and feel as though, it's just us running and gunning and nobody else can possibly understand. And we don't bring other people along and we neglect our own personal support system, the people that are there to lift us up and encourage us and the people that we turn to in a crisis, even if it's just for being able to talk to them or have some support. So there's a lot of wisdom in that. And I appreciate you bringing that to us today. By the way, if you have an idea, something you'd like to hear Mike talk about on one of our weekly shows, we do crowdsource his ideas from the Board of Advisors membership. So if for some reason there's something that you'd like to hear him talk about, just drop it into chat. We're going to go through and take a look at, what pings our email or pings that chat and then select some ideas from there. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate your top 4 this week. All right.
You got it, buddy.
So this is exciting for me because Carrie is someone that I have been trying to get on camera for probably about 6 months. And she is just so insanely busy. And I sit back and I think to myself, okay, now wait a minute. No one can possibly be that busy, right? But then I got the stats on the growth of her company. I got the stats on her success over this past year. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay. I think I believe it now. Now I know why I can't ever get Carrie on the phone. So 2021 CEO of the year, written up by the Tampa Bay Business Journal. She is the 2021, she made the Inc. 5000. She's got 170 employees she oversees, an 8-figure revenue. She just doubled that revenue in the past 6 months alone. So while I'm trying to get her on camera so we can talk to her, she's doubling her revenue. Okay, listen, I can't fault her for that, right? Carrie, you are an absolute rock star. Welcome to GoCEO.
Thank you. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Thank you, Cory.
All right. So Carrie, you run a company called BREASTAFF. Just set the stage for anyone who is, finding out about you for the first time, maybe a new viewer, new listener. What is BREASTAFF and who do you like to work with?
So BroadStaff is a staffing firm, and we specialize in working with clients on technology resources, IT, telecom, 5G, really that's the world that we live in. And we have two different types of services. We have contract, and then we also have direct hire services. So part of this, the majority of the 170, now it's 180 employees that we have today, that those are our consultants that we lease out to companies throughout the United States. And then we have 35 internal employees that make the machine run. So that's really who we are.
So kind of a hybrid of the two. And you know, what's really funny to me is that you and I just spoke yesterday, and I asked you for your current employee count and you said 170. So there's like 10 new people since yesterday.
Yes, there is.
It's growing fast. Okay. So let's wind back a little bit. Let's turn the clock back. Take me through your professional journey leading up to when you founded BREASTAFF. What did your life look like up until then?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life, in my 20s, and now I just turned 54. So I've owned various types of companies, and
that just made my head spin for a minute. I'm sorry. I just like you turned like
I can't
30,
believe
35?
I'm 54. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this happening?
That's
I'm
mind blowing
not
to me.
I'm going to stay in my. I'm going to stay.
Nothing
51.
about you that says that. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Continue. I'm sorry. I just hit that and like, bam! I had to stop for a second and like pick up. All right. Go ahead. Continue.
So I've been in various businesses as a partner, co-owner, mortgage company, real estate, commercial real estate, all of these different businesses. And then I took a break. I said, you know what? I've had this incredible history and past and this story, and I want to make a difference and I want to help other people. So I became a life executive and business coach. I got all these certifications, and that's what I did for about 7 years. And then my current business partner had started this firm, BREASTAFF, and he was the investor. And he came to me one day and he said, look, I really need you to, help me come in as an owner, help operate this, the business and run it. And I think it would just be so awesome. You could blow it up. And I said, well, I don't have any experience at all in like a tech company or telecom or staffing or anything. I've never done this, but
okay,
you know what?
Let me interrupt for just a moment. When you were invited to step into BREASTAFF, what did BREASTAFF look like at that time?
Good question. We had been in business for 10 months, and the revenue at that point was probably going to be 1 million that year. And it was after the company had been in existence for 10 months. And now that was actually in 2015.
Okay, great. Go ahead. I just wanted to understand. Okay, that's where you began your journey in BREASTAFF. Now take it forward to today for me.
Right. So I thought I'm going to be an empty nester soon. I really would want one more shot, right? One more shot to grow a company and have a team. And the thing that I was most interested in is taking all my experience and passion and all the knowledge that I had as a life coach, and then injecting that into a company and people and culture and just watch it explode using the skills that I've learned in coaching, right? And then teaching other leaders and developing leaders. So then the company did explode. It was amazing. I mean, we were just doubling year after year. Inc. 5000, Fast 50 in Tampa Bay, and it's been an amazing ride. So we went from, again, that $1 million 6 years ago to we were at 7 million last year. We're on track for about 12 million this year, and then next year we should do well over 20. Our goal is 33.3 million next year. So
good Lord. All right. So
obviously
there has been explosive growth, right? If you were to narrow it down to just one or two things that you think is responsible for that explosive growth, what would you say that is?
So I've always been a big thinker, but I've always had this part of me that was, focused on organic growth, security, safety, be cautious. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Make sure that you look at the numbers, the data, just don't go too fast, right? Even though I was this big thinker, I had to always throttle myself. And it was interesting because I attended this event and I heard this man speak, and he had created this multi-billion-dollar company, and And he said he got the best advice he ever got in his life. And the advice was, you have to think bigger. And I don't know what it was. You hear things 100 times in your life, and then suddenly you hear the same thing and it just hits you over the head. And I sat there and I thought, I'm thinking big, but I'm not doing big. I am not wide open, just going. I'm not going. So I called my business partner, who's my investor, and I said, listen, I just want you to know that I'm taking off, and I'm going. I'm going. This is it. I mean, this is it. I have to go. And so ever since then, I told my team, my leadership team, I said, strap in, okay? Just strap in, because this is going to be scary. It's going to be wild, and you are going to think I'm completely crazy. And this is what we're going to do. And that was really the turning point. And since then, I just took the lid off of hiring. And I said, let's hire, 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 hire. Let's go and build it, and they will come. The business, we went out and got the business, it came. Like everything is just, we pushed and it just exploded. We're literally in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I think every entrepreneur has heard that saying, if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough, right? And
Right.
I know that, it's something that I'm constantly thinking to myself. I'm thinking, okay, am I thinking big enough? Am I going far enough with this? Can I make it bigger? Can my aspirations be more scary almost, like, oh my gosh, maybe that's at the limit of what I think I can do, but let me go beyond that too, that whole mindset of push and think bigger. Last week, I know we were, was it last week or maybe the week before, we were talking to Brian Delmaso about mindset. And one of the things that he said was, or no, I'm sorry, it was Ron Gorley as he was developing his team. One of our guests last week, he said that he has to be careful about bringing his team along because he can think so big and get so far out in front that no one else can go with him on that journey. He has to be careful to manage how much of that vision he trickles out to that executive team for support, so he doesn't just go so far ahead that they can't keep up. Have you ever found that that's an issue for you?
I really haven't. I'm the opposite. And I know everyone works differently, but I'm the absolute opposite. So what I do is I enroll my leadership team in the biggest vision possible, like something that they can't even imagine. In fact, we created that 33.3 million together. And what I do is I elevate their normal, I elevate their reality, and a number that they couldn't even wrap their brains around, I make that real for them, right? Or a future, or whatever that vision is. And I find by doing that, I elevate the entire team, which elevates, the leadership team, which elevates the team, and then the whole company is believing that it's possible. So that's how I operate.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Do you find that your background in being a life coach, advising other businesses and other driven entrepreneurs on how they should organize and structure their own life and what they should expect, working within mindset, do you find that all of that experience really helps you internally with your own employees and maybe as part of all of the people that you have on your team and their belief in that vision?
I believe it's a huge part of it, because I have the tools now to inspire, empower, motivate, create, enroll that I never had before. So I would say if I didn't have these tools, I would bring in a coach to be able to train my team and do this for my team, because it's been invaluable.
That's really great advice. All right. We live in an interesting time right now. Obviously, job seekers, their expectations have kind of transformed over the past 2 years. What is happening today was not the case 2 years ago. What have you seen as far as employee expectations when people are job seeking, or when employers are looking to bring somebody on board and they have to now meet those new expectations? What sort of culture shift have you seen, in your business?
There has been a massive transformation just in the last year and a half after the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic. And it's something that we haven't seen this in decades. What we're experiencing right now has been called the Great Resignation. So this is hard to imagine, but in April, over 4 million people, Americans, left their job, right? Left their job and got a new job. Just in August, that was even higher. 4.2 million Americans left their job and got a new job. So
Wow.
this is something that is, I mean, it's a massive issue for businesses. And is retention. It's different. Why is this happening? Because during the year where everyone was home and they were rethinking their lives, they had time to spend with their family for the first time, and they were thinking, what do I want? What's important to me? I don't want to commute. I don't want to drive 45 minutes to work back and forth every day when, I've had all this amazing time with my family. What's important to me? Do I like my job? Do I have growth there? Like, do I want to do something different? So people have been rethinking their entire life. And part of this great resignation, it's something that is going to happen no matter what. Okay, because people are just rethinking what they want. But there's another piece of it that employers can do something to stop.
Okay. I would love to hear that because, of course, turnover of any kind is really expensive for a business. You put all that time in to train somebody and get them up to speed. And then all of a sudden they're playing that, the offer game, which seems to be, it's like, shopping around right now for who's got the highest offer, who's got the best package, and that turnover hurts businesses. And in the long run, it's not just about the businesses. It in turn hurts the job market, because now you're crippling the small business that provides all those jobs, right? So
Right.
it's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy. How does that stop? How do we keep those employees without them just going out and playing the offer game?
Well, there's a few different solutions here. Number one is you really have to look and see if you're paying market rates to your people at this point. You have to, because if you're not paying market rates, somebody else is going to pay market rates. So this isn't about necessarily paying, okay, I can't, Carrie, I can't afford 20, 30, 40, 50% higher salaries. This is not what that's about. If somebody's going to leave you for 30, 40, 50% higher salary, then it's not in your budget. You're going to have to let them go and find somebody new. This is about bringing your people to market rate. And it's important. And they know right now when they're not, because they're getting calls and they're seeing that they're not. Number two, what we found is effective for employers is something called stay interviews. Stay interviews. That's where you have that communication. You have a one-on-one with each one of your employees, if you can, or have your leadership do it. And you talk about, talk to me. Are you happy? Is there anything missing for you? Would there be anything that would cause you to want to leave this company, or anything that we could do better? And really have that honest conversation with them to find out, are they a flight risk? Is there something that, they may tell you, you know what, there is something, actually, I need some more flexibility. I haven't seen my son play a baseball game in a year, and I would really like that. Can I do that? And many times what they're going to ask for may not be a big deal. It may be something easy for you. The problem is they're not going to come tell you this. They're going to present their resignation. That's what they're going to do. And so a stay interview is a great opportunity for you to learn that information. The third item is that 80% of turnover comes from a bad hiring decision. Okay, 80%, get this, 80%, I'm going to say it again, 80% of turnover stems from a bad hiring decision. So what you want to do is go back to your hiring process and really understand, how am I vetting these people? Am I vetting for fit? Am I screening for turnover risk? How are we doing? Do we have any sort of assessments that will help us understand, is this the right fit? Is this the right person? Soft skills, all of that. So really the turnover happens in the hiring process. So you want to really get clear there. Another solution is culture. We could go into that. That could be something we could talk about for hours, your company culture. Please do a culture analysis. Make sure that you have the right culture for today's workers, especially today's younger generation. Growth opportunities. People are leaving. Number one reason, no growth. They do not see growth opportunity in career pathing. And also, like I mentioned, flexibility. Post COVID or, pandemic where we are right now, people want flexibility and they're getting it. And they're getting it from other people and other employers. And then the final solution is human connection. We're a remote, look at us right now. Okay. I can't hug you. I can't, see you in person. If I would hug all of you, but it's different now. I mean, this is our reality. And so people are yearning for a human connection. I'm not saying that you need to bring everyone back in the office. However, if you have a remote environment, you have to create ways that you can connect people, or they will disconnect and then they will start looking for something else. So those are just a few options and solutions for you to retain your talent.
Yeah, awesome advice, really, across the board. I know that in my own company, which was, I exited my company this past March, and leading up to that point, I know part of what really kept us through COVID, just continuing to hammer away and get things done, was that daily human connection. We had a 15-minute Zoom call every morning from every person's living room, and that connection kept everybody bought in and on board and transparent. And, there was relationship there. Yeah. It was important for my business. So I'm hearing what you're saying. And now on the other side of COVID, I completely understand where you're coming from. All really great advice. So listen, if you were to take a look at employees versus contractors, has there been any kind of a shift in the contractor world? Are you saying, like, if there's a regular contractor you're using on an ongoing basis, do you find that these same things apply to that contractor as well?
We do. And I think that employers can be a little nervous these days, thinking I can't treat contractors the same as my employees, right? And in some ways you can't. But when it comes to connection and engagement, and the human element and culture, you need to include them. They need to feel part of something. And many contractors are waiting for that opportunity for you to hire them full time. And they're working so hard to prove to you that they're great, so you will hire them full time. So making sure that your contractors also feel like they're part of something, right? And that they're part of the team and they're important. They demand this as well, because they're also, they don't have as much commitment, so it's easier for them to walk away than it is a full-time employee.
So let me ask you, in BREASTAFF, obviously you focus on providing the highest quality employees that are a perfect fit, that hit all of the requirements, and that look very, very promising as far as their growth and future within a company. You're focused on doing that every day. If you could select one golden piece of knowledge that you would share with everybody as to, here is how you find that best talent. Here is the number one resource you need to go to in order to find exactly those right people. What would be your advice? Because everyone's turning to LinkedIn and they're turning, to do job searches and try and get people signed up. I mean, what other resources are there that people really need to be looking at? Because that's where they're going to find the best talent.
It's easy for me because it's really outsourcing to a professional. Number one, I'll give you two things. And the first one is obvious: outsourcing to a professional, like a specialized staffing firm, right? Like BREASTAFF, mm-hmm. Because, this is what we do all day long. We know how to do it. I mean, if you need brain surgery, you have a brain tumor, you're not going to do it yourself. You're not going to go pick up a knife in your kitchen and, start digging in your head. I mean, you're going to say, okay, I need somebody that knows what they're doing to save my life. And it's exactly the same here. So do you want, but I don't want to pay a fee. Yeah, but think about all the revenue that person's going to generate for you. Think about all the more projects that you'll be able to take, and all the more business you'll be able to get because you've got this person in that role. So I do believe in outsourcing and hiring the expert to help you. Now, if you are going to do it yourself, and let's say you're a small company, you just started out and you're like, look, I just need to hire a couple of people. What do I do here? I do believe that the job boards, Indeed, LinkedIn, those are very important, but it's more than, I think what people do is they place an ad and they wait, right? They just wait. Well, I didn't get anybody good. I just didn't. Today's job market is not a job board market. You cannot place an ad and get any qualified candidates right now because they're all working, and most of them are either happy or they're not going to answer you, right? And if they are looking to leave, then they have maybe 50 of you to talk to. So today's world is about proactive recruiting. Proactive meaning that you actually have to go out to LinkedIn. You have to find people. You have to talk to people. You have to ask for, who do you know? Do you know network? Do you know anyone? This is what I'm looking for. When someone sends their resume, if they're not right, do you know anybody that could, it's got to be more of a sales approach, proactive approach now than ever before, because you will not find what you need by placing an ad in this market.
That's really interesting. That shift from yesteryear when the qualified job seeker had to pitch themselves to the business. And now you find it's more relevant for the business to pitch themselves to the qualified employee and stop thinking that just because I put something out there, qualified people are going to come. You have to aggressively play the offense in getting people to come to your company. That's a really cool insight. Not something I would have thought of, but definitely relevant. And thank you for that. So, and I agree with you in hiring the professionals, right? If my toilet broke, I'm not going to jump back there and start sloshing around myself. I'm going to hire a plumber and come, and I'm not going to hang over his shoulder. I'm going to expect he knows how to plumb. So
I want to say one other thing, Cory, if I might.
Yeah, please.
I was with a client yesterday, and I was speaking to them, and they said, people aren't showing up. We set up these interviews and they're not coming. And I said, okay, well, how are you enrolling them in the opportunity on the phone? And they're like, what are you talking about? We just basically say, hey, this is the opportunity. You need to be here at this time and you better, show up. And I said, no. You're selling them on the opportunity. It's not the other way around. So what you have to do on that first phone call is paint this picture of this job, this company, this culture, this amazing opportunity to lure them to the interview. Okay, I know it sounds ridiculous, but you have to do that because otherwise they're not going to show up because somebody else is going to be doing that, luring them to the interview. And they're going to say, gosh, I have no interest in ABC company. That didn't sound that good. I'm not even going to go. And that's today's world. So that's what you just brought up is absolutely true.
Wonderful. Listen, Carrie, I appreciate the insight so much. And I know we could turn this into a day-long conversation. I really could. I would just love to drill into your brain because all this stuff is just like candy to an entrepreneur, that, this kind of insight. Thank you for that. I need to ask the one question. Let's just step back from hiring and employees and contractors for a moment, and let's just talk about business. I want to ask the one question that I find so intriguing when I do these interviews. If you were to select the one biggest mistake that you made in growing your business, what would that mistake be? And what strategy could you share that would help others not to make that same mistake?
Ooh, I know that immediately. So we made the mistake in the beginning of putting all of our eggs in one basket. And we had a very large percentage of our revenue with one client. And we were killing it. And it was so exciting. It was just so exciting because the money was rolling in, everything was great. And then thank God for my intuition and my faith, because that's how I run my company. That's it. I listen and I listen to messages. I pray a lot. And I started noticing something. I said, something is not right. Something's happening with this company. We got to prepare because I feel a shift coming and I can see it. And it ended up shifting so much that we lost probably 95% of our revenue with that company over a year. But what I did was I told my team, I said, let's prepare. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to diversify. I want us to go nuts with diversification. That's what we have to do. So we ended up it hurt us, and I won't lie, it definitely hurt us, but not as bad. And that could have wiped us out. So lesson learned. And to this day, diversification is the top priority, no matter how big we get, no matter how, the revenue just skyrockets. If it's not diversified, we're in danger.
Yeah, that's really great insight. It's your business is an investment. Would you put all of your investment dollars in one thing? Never. you would never do that, right? So same thing, get those eggs diversified into various baskets. I appreciate that very much. All right. In just a few moments, we're going to open this up to Q&A from our live audience. But first, Carrie, I just want to get your info out there. If anyone needs to find out more about BREASTAFF, your company, or if they just want to find out more about you, where do we send them to do that?
You could go to our website. It's broadstaffglobal.com, broadstaffglobal.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, Carrie Charles, Carrie, Charles. You could Google me. My phone number I think is everywhere. And you can email me at carrie.charles@broadstaffglobal.com.
Wonderful. All right. We're going to turn things back over to Mr. Mike Calhoun, coming to us from the Board of Advisors studio there in St. Petersburg, Florida. He's going to give us his top takeaways from the conversation we just had with Carrie. Mike, what do you got for us?
I literally have so many notes. I am trying to decipher the space between them, where they stop and start. This was great. I really, this is such great timing too, to have this conversation. So here's a few bullets that I took away or that I understood from the conversation. First off, there's real benefits to being the coach to your business. And if you can't do that, get a coach for your business. Sometimes, we just brought in Eddie. He worked with the entire team and he was able to do things that I wasn't able to do. Even though I might've been saying something similar, it was a fresh voice and it got the ship turned in the right direction on certain elements. So that was really good for me. The other part of this here is how to explode your business by thinking bigger, not just big, but bigger, yet throttle smart, strap in and enroll the leadership team. I think that was really smart about how not just thinking they can't follow, but making sure they're right there with you. There's a way to do it, right? I also like the little comment, scary is good, right? Thinking so big, it gets a little scary. That's a good thing, right? Get out of your comfort zone. How to also rethink the great resignation. So a couple little bullets here. Bring people to market rates, not just bringing them to market rates, but bringing them together, right? Getting everybody on the same page, making them feel like they're part of the team by communicating with your people with an invitation to talk. Right? Opening that door, having that access so that you're proactively, there's a little bit of a ego there. Sometimes they don't want to necessarily tell you their pain, so they just quit. But if we have that proactive conversation, it's really healthy for the relationship and for them and turnover. We lose so much time and opportunity with turnover. If you don't, I like this one even better. If you don't hire the best or the pros, your competition will, right? So which side of the fence do you want them on? And when you're in that conversation, the elimination of the word job, you didn't say it, but you did it. You continued to not reference it as a job, but you referenced it as an opportunity, getting them to understand this is an opportunity and getting your hiring or HR department to really present the opportunity and go after those instead of just sitting on the sidelines. Like we're selling the opportunity to be involved with that organization. I have more. Provide human connection or they will disconnect. I got a whole page here. It's out of control.
So listen, we're just going to wrap it up here. I want to thank all of our viewers and all of our listeners for being a member of GoCEO. If you have not yet subscribed and you are consuming this on social media or on Facebook, please do so. If you are consuming this on YouTube, click the little bell below so we can let you know when new videos are released. And once again, thank you for joining us for this episode of GoCEO. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carrie.